What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with F1 2020 career mode. It has been 24 days running this series. Normally, I get to a point where I can't upload daily, but that hasn't happened yet, and I'm kind of proud of myself. So let's see if we can continue that streak for as long as we can. Maybe, let's see if we can get 2 seasons in without missing an upload. And that would be some achievement by me. But anyway, here we are for the second episode of Season 2. If you're new around here, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff to make sure you stay up to date with all of these episodes. In this episode, we're going to be targeting some upgrades to the facilities, and more specifically, durability. We now have a good teammate on board, and it's important that we look after him and his car, because they won't be so savvy with taking new engine components. They will run into issues if we don't upgrade the durability. So that's what we're doing. And we have a lot of resource points as well, 2.4k. We just got the ball rolling so much more this year, this season, with the Spec 2 upgrades. We've got more resource points rolling in from our facilities, but also our driver, George Russell, he's doing a great job perfecting all the practice programs, which is making life a lot easier for me. So upgrade-wise, we're going for powertrain engine upgrade, and I think we also went for a major front downforce upgrade, upgrading the driver contract for myself, which means less wear on the engine. Being a bit selfish, but why the hell not? But one other thing we're going to cover off in this video is the livery, and we're going to change that up a little bit. The sponsors need to be refreshed after this race weekend, so that's something we'll tackle in the next episode. We're going to lose all of our sponsors, we're going to have to renew some new ones. But yeah, livery. You guys really liked the frosted out livery. There was overwhelming support for that, so we're going to run that for this episode. But bear in mind, I've got Sevi, my thumbnail and graphics guy. He's making me a custom logo for my team, and I believe he's also doing a livery for me. It's still going to remain purple, but I don't know what he's working on, and I will probably change the livery to that once it is ready. And it's going to look pretty sick. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I don't even know what it's going to look like, but I know that Sevi is amazing with everything that he does, and I'm sure it's going to be great. But anyway, practice 1, top that session. Basically ran all the practice programs that I wanted to do, and we got a good bag of resource points. We're over 1,000 again. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we'll have some big boy upgrades coming for the next episode as well, maybe. But it's time for qualifying. Okay, here we are for a very frosty Bahrain qualifying session in the garage there. I say frosty, it's just like the sheen of the white on the car was very, very bright. Almost blinding, in fact. I hope the pit crew had sunnies on. But regardless, we're heading out there now for qualifying 1. Opening account wasn't great, 18th place with that time. We did a 24.9. Time that I did in practice, I think, was a 26. So it wasn't slow by any means, and I actually failed the qualifying pace program in Friday practice by a long way. I was like a second and a half down, so maybe the pace won't be that good this weekend. I'm hoping it'll be okay as we come to the end of our final lap here in Q1. We improved by a couple of tenths, and it is just enough for us to improve and get out of qualifying 1, but only just. 1/100th of a second was all that separated us from, well, okay, 100th of a second. No, yeah, it was 100th of a second between myself and Science on the bubble there, so that is really cutting it fine. Both the McLarens are out in Q1, which is a massive surprise. McLaren aren't that bad. They're only just slower than us in the performance index, so this is definitely a track that does not suit their car. But it just shows how easy it is to get caught out. It happened to us in the first race of Season 2. We got knocked out in Q1. The midfield is so damn close in this season. So one little slip up or an error in the setup and whatever it might be, it could mean, you know, the difference between big points and getting none at all. But hopefully this is a good one for us. We're rocking the Ferrari power unit this year, and it's a power track here at Bahrain, so I'd imagine that we're going to do pretty well. I ran with low downforce as well. Hypers has given me an updated setup. 2.7 wings. Thank you very much, Hypers, for that one. And I tell you what, this setup is very oversteery. It took a little bit of time for me to get used to it in practice, but now that I'm on top of it, it feels quite nice. How it's going to go at other circuits, that remains to be seen. But Q2, coming to an end now. We only had one set of tyres to use for this session, so that was unfortunate, but we improved massively over our previous best, and we actually squeezed through into qualifying 3, only marginally behind our teammate George Russell. So for the first time this season, it looks like we can match our number 2. I don't even want to call him a number 2. Our equal on the other side of the garage. Q3, I had one set of tyres again, which was given to me by the FIA, but the lap wasn't better. It wasn't great. It was a 24.4, 2/10 shy of what I did in Q2, and it was last place. George only managed P9 in the end as well, so it looks like we ran out of pace there at the end of qualifying. But heading into the race, I know that we're always stronger, so let's get more points.
The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Thank you, Jeff. Let's continue that, shall we? Good race, first time out in Australia. George showing the true potential of our car, and really it was an inspiring drive, and I want to kind of do the same. We're going to see if we can move forward collectively as a group in today's Grand Prix. It looks like the strategy is a 2-stop, but I'm kind of fancying a 1-stop. I don't think a 2-stop is actually faster. Once you remove that medium stint at the end, you'll gain like 15, 20 seconds. And that means it is faster. So we're going to go for the 1 and use hards. I don't normally use the hards, but today I've got a hard on. Away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And as bloody always, it's a shocking start. I really need to sort out the starts. I need to talk to Tom. His starts are amazing every single time. We get forced on the curb by our teammate. He's really trying to show his dominance early on in this season of career mode. He has already done the talking on track in the first race, and he's letting his car do the talking at turn 1 of the second. But I think it'll be fine. I have a mutual respect for George, and I want to see him do well just as much as I want to do well myself. So if he's winning races, I'm happy. Honestly, we just want the constructors. But yeah, tyre wear looks pretty bad at this stage. So we'll hopefully negotiate this first stint on the soft compound tyres nicely as George goes up the inside of Ricardo into turn 1. That's a nice little lunge there from George. We don't really see too much of his overtaking prowess, that being that he was in a Williams for a couple of years. But now he's in a good car, and we can actually see that racecraft come to the fore as we go up the inside of Ricardo now at turn 4. P8 and 9 respectively for Marduk Motorsport. We got a yellow flag back there. It is one of the Williams out of this Grand Prix. It's Mick Schumacher. Much like last season, I think it was. He retired at this very Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. So Mick must absolutely hate this place. He's going to be, he's going to be on a plane before we even get back to the press pen, I would imagine. But up front, we have an issue reported for Sebastian Vettel. You can see he's slowly starting to drop off that lead pack. And yeah, there's something that's holding him back. And he's going to be falling into our clutches. So potentially another position for us in this Grand Prix. Make that another one as we get up the inside of George Russell. Bit of contact made with Verstappen as well. Just touching his diffuser at the exit of turn 1. But this was half orchestrated. And we made it work for us there. A little bit of a shark bite in the right-hand part of our front wing. And that little contact with Verstappen just takes another little chunk out. But it's fine. As long as the elements at the top part of the wing are there, that's all that really matters. Although it does make me a little bit nervous seeing chunks of my front wing missing. But as far as I know, the bits that are missing on the floor of the wing it's fine. So we'll press on. Tyre wear is pretty bad, 48%, and we want to stretch these to about lap 9, lap 10. Those who are doing a 2-stop today will be stopping maybe on this lap. As we can see, Albon and Vettel getting a bit feisty on the exit of the final corner. Albon makes his way into the pit lane. Verstappen lining up Vettel. And I'm hopefully going to get both of these guys with the help of DRS and overtake on the start-finish straight. It's 2 in 1 go. We're up into P5. The race has really opened up for us now as people are making their stops. We're running long. People have got problems. And we've got all the straight line speed in the world with this illegal Ferrari power unit. There we go. I said it. It's illegal. What are you going to do? Sue me? Take me to court. I didn't make the engine. I just bought it. So take your case to Ferrari. I'd imagine now that that's going to come back to bite me. That's karma's going to get me because Codemasters are going to patch that tomorrow or something. I know that the Black Mercedes is out now, so from the next episode onwards, you'll be able to see that beautiful specimen in all of its glory. But that will have to wait till tomorrow as we get a track extending warning. 3 of those, and we have 3 seconds against our name. More people are in the lane, and we get promoted up onto the podium. George Russell as well has been reported to have an issue. Don't know what it is, but from hindsight, I have a feeling his problem was straight line speed related. So hopefully they can get that fixed up, and George can be back on the pace once again. What tyre is he going to go onto now as he comes into the lane? Softs. So double soft and then medium to finish off the race. He'll be attacking right from the outset of this stint. So we'll see how effective that undercut is for George, who came in 1 lap ago. So we're responding on the next lap. End of lap 10, end of lap 9 actually. Onto the hard compound tyres. I missed the green light there just fractionally. So that cost me a bit of time and probably cost me the position. No, it didn't cost me the position to George because I've just rejoined in front of him. But no, he's actually going to get back in front of me anyway. So there we go. A switcheroo at Marduk Motorsport. He's on the soft compound tyre. No point holding him up. He is on a different strategy. And if anything, it's going to help me just following him along, using his faster pace, saving a bit of fuel, and just following him through as we get pretty close into the braking zone. I didn't want to get too close because I know that the AI will start to defend. They get a bit hasty. And so I lifted off at the end of that back straight. And you can see George moved a little bit, but he went back to the racing line because I backed off a little bit. So that's the last thing I want to do is be counterproductive for the 2 of us. I want us to actually collectively move forward as a group. Teamwork, you know, makes the dream work. So let's endeavour to slipstream train each other to the points in this Bahrain Grand Prix. I kind of like doing the split strategy as well. It means that one of us, at least one of us, will absolutely nail the strategy. Ideally, both of us, if we've got great pace. We'll have to wait and see. Matsushita, we go around the outside of him. He's on old medium tyres, hasn't made a stop yet, and is in the slowest car in the field, so we make pretty easy work of him. P13, P12, P11. Could that be P10? No, we're not going to dive bomb George just yet. It looks like he's not performing to his full potential. I think he's still carrying that problem, so I feel like I've got to overtake him now. He's not really going overly fast. He's flying through the corners. Wasn't holding me up at all, but given that he was on the soft compound tyres, you would imagine that he'd be romping off into the distance, and he wasn't. We were able to easily stay with him, and so, yeah, he's definitely still carrying something which is holding him back, which is really unfortunate for both counts there, because George should be a lot further up the road. He should be challenging maybe Albon up there, and for me, yeah, I did get held up a little bit, just waiting for George to get back on the pace. That never really happened, did it? So, lap 17, you can see Charles Leclerc rejoining on the track for his final stop, and we are going to actually jump him. But I don't imagine we're going to stay in front of him for too long. He's got much fresher tyres, faster car, and so we're just going to stick it down into lean, and we're not going to argue the point. I'm actually going to stick behind him, use his slipstream and DRS to tow me along in this Grand Prix, hopefully pull me away from Stroll. It was a crucial part of the Grand Prix. I was hoping that was going to work out for me, but it had the opposite effect. Leclerc just bolted, and I was never able to break outside of the DRS of Stroll. But here comes Hamilton out of the pit lane himself. 10 laps to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Because it didn't work for Charles, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and fight for this position against Hamilton and see if I can fancy my chances of staying on the podium. It's going to be a tall order. But at this point, I can't escape the grasp of Stroll, who's got fresher tyres and a slightly faster car. So I may as well fight this. I'll turn this into a DRS train if I have to, and we'll go from there. But we turned it down into lean on the run into the last corner. It was a cheeky tactic there to get some DRS back, and it's worked. We got back in front of Hamilton. We stayed in front of Hamilton. Essentially, he's got no DRS, and now Stroll is just going to stroll right past him into turn 1. Brilliant stuff. Now there's 200 IQ plays right there. Hamilton and Stroll fighting away pretty hard, but it didn't take long for Hamilton to get back in front of Stroll and then back onto my gearbox again. His pace was just absolutely phenomenal, but one area where he was, I wouldn't even say lacking, because it's a Mercedes after all, but our biggest strength was our straight line speed in this Grand Prix. We're doing the Alfa Romeo strat of just being a rocket ship in a straight line, and we don't have much in the corners. We're decent in the corners just because we've got old tyres, hard compound tyres. We're not going to be amazing through the middle sector, and because we've got all this straight line speed and acceleration, Hamilton can't get in front of us. He's actually stuck in this Grand Prix. It's pretty amazing to witness. We just need to not make mistakes and get good punchy exits, and we can hold position, at least for the time being. Hamilton is all over us at every single corner, but as long as we've got the straight line speed, that's all that matters. We're still having to save a little bit of fuel, which I'm doing through the middle sector a little bit, but we should be fine. The way that the career mode engine works, it's consistent across the Honda and the Ferrari now, I've noticed. It's pretty good on fuel consumption. There must have been some upgrades from not only Honda last season, but Ferrari once we got this power unit, because I don't need to save all too much as Hamilton has a bit of a hairy moment there on the exit of the second to last corner. I oversteered to the right, Hamilton oversteered to the left, and it was just weird how we kind of crisscrossed there. Very unnatural. But he's gotten back in front. I'm going to get DRS here, and we're going to see how easy it is to overtake. Being in the other position, I've kind of bottled it there. I went into the wrong MFD menu, trying to turn up the engine. I turned up the incoming front wing change, but we quickly amended that, and we fly back past Hamilton into P3 of this Bahrain Grand Prix. We actually got a touch there from Lewis, and that's a bit uncharacteristic of him. We'll need to get a replay of that up. It's actually 3 wide into turn 1, so Lewis had Stroll up his inside, and I'm guessing that there was a bit of contact instigated from Stroll, which kind of pinballed into me. And it was just a bit of a racing. Yeah, it was. We all kind of pinched in the middle, so that's unfortunate, but it was just a racing incident, I would say. Yeah, there's no space there. Stroll kind of turning to the left a little bit, which was awkward, but we all got through without damage. Stroll is ahead of Hamilton, and Hamilton is now getting monstered by Pierre Gasly back there. He's actually been overtaken, so that is absolute calamity for Lewis. He would be absolutely raging. This is not the race that this is not the race that he signed up for. Fighting away with Alpha Tauri's Racing Point and Marduk Motorsport. He ideally would have wanted to be chasing down Charles Leclerc and his teammate Bottas, but now he's just really struggling to just get back on the podium as we lock up into turn 1. It's a battle for the ages, this, and as long as we don't make mistakes, we are holding on. 47% on the left rear tyre. I think we're okay in terms of tyre wear. I don't think we're in any danger of a puncture. It's just the performance of eking out this tyre to the end of the Grand Prix. That's going to be the major concern for us, and whether we can hold on to the podium or not. I'm going to fight as hard as I can here to hold on, but you can see even there, straight up, DRS, slipstream, Lewis couldn't get in front. He doesn't have the legs on us on the start-finish straight, where we deploy most of our battery. Where he is dangerous is on the that back straight there and other unorthodox areas of the circuit. If he so wants to, he can get a nice drive out of there, punch it with the overtake button, and then get past me. But he's only done that once or twice, and when he's done that, it's quickly followed up by this start-finish straight, so he can't really get anywhere. He can... It's almost like he can hide, but he can't run, essentially, from me. It's a giant game of cat and mouse, and we seem to be winning at this stage. I am loving this. 3 laps to go, and Hamilton is having another go at us into the triple chicane. Who's going to get DRS here? I think it's going to be me. So, oh, that's close. I thought I was going to lose a chunk of my end plate there. I don't want to be running side by side through there anymore than what I need to. But we held on to the position. Hamilton comes back at us into turn 1. he should be good here, but he's not. The AI needs to be improved. Their side-by-side racecraft is a bit terrible on this game. So I don't know if you consider that. If they're a bit better side-by-side, he might have got past me already and got away. But the fact of the matter is, the Mercedes is not as fast as us in a straight line. And that is the crux of Lewis Hamilton's issues. Whoa. I can't believe this. We're forming a big train now. We're pretty slow, but we've shown the consistency, the tyre wear, and race pace to just hold on to this position. We've not put a foot wrong so far, and even without DRS, we fly back past Lewis. Oh, he doesn't have DRS either, so it's going to be nearly 3 wide there heading into the braking zone at turn 1. Stroll on the outside. Is Hamilton going to get back through? I don't know. He didn't for the time being, but it doesn't take Hamilton long to get back in front of Stroll, which he has done. Half a lap to go in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Bottas is going to run away with this one. Pretty close in the end there with Charles Leclerc only 2 seconds back, chasing him down with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the last lap for good measure. But for us, it looks like it's going to be a podium. We're going to do one better than George Russell in the last race. And it was very nearly a racing point on the podium too today, but it wasn't to be. We held up Hamilton absolutely beautifully today. But there we go. We're going to come across the line for our first podium of the season. Get in.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
Nice one there from Bottas. Full complement of 25 points. 19 for Charles Leclerc, who claims the fastest lap on the last lap of the Grand Prix. It's a bit tit for tat at the moment with Mercedes and Ferrari. I felt like Ferrari were the fastest car in Australia. They unfortunately don't really come away with much today. Vettel having his issues on that side of the garage, and then Charles Leclerc had to get past me at one stage and just kind of ran out of laps at the end there to get Bottas. Hamilton absolutely raging, couldn't get in front of me. We had amazing straight line speed. That was one thing we had all weekend, thanks to the Hypers setup. 2.7 wings, Ferrari power units. It was absolutely golden. We were the top of the speed traps all weekend, and boy did we need it. That helped us get on the podium, so shout out to the guys on the pit wall for buying a wonderful engine. Actually, driver of the day, let's just give it to my wallet for buying the Ferrari power unit. Pat on the back to myself. Awesome. Okay, so P3 in the constructors standing was still holding on pretty well there. Unfortunate for George today, he had the issue which was holding him back. He only fell further and further back in the Grand Prix, and I don't imagine that the 2-stop really helped him at all either. So no points for him, but overall it's still a good day for the team. We need to continue to develop and upgrade the facility so that we can get upgrades on consistently without them failing, and just reducing the build time as well. It's going to be imperative to our success in Season 2. We do get the podium, which means we get the big bonus from the Mosquito Company, and it is like 1.5 mil nearly. I had no damage deductions either on my side of the garage, which is, I think, is the first for me in this entirety of the career mode series. I don't know what I've done in the past to deserve penalty dollars taken off me, because a lot of the time I don't have damage, but it takes it off me anyway. But finally today, we got away with it, even with the shark bite elements taken out of the front wing. I will absolutely take that. But guys, that has been this episode for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content on F1 2020. Feel free to check out my video from earlier today where I was racing Lando Norris and James Baldwin on the online side of things, and we were racing around, I think, the France circuit and also Monza with no corner cutting rules. So it was a very funny video, and I can't wait to show you guys 1 or 2 more videos with me racing Lando. But until the next race, not sure what it is. Either way, we have a lot to do in the next episode, a bit of admin. We've got to renegotiate all of our sponsors, and we've got a bit of upgrading to do with the facilities and the car. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.